everybody! If you're a subscriber of my channel, you are probably expecting at this point some fun vlogs of me and my friends in Nicaragua to go in sequence of my Central America vlogs. Unfortunately, and this is the genuine truth, I forgot to vlog the majority of what went on because I was just jam-packed with everything that I was doing. I did film little snippets, but not enough to create a substantial vlog, so I'm just going to incorporate what I did film into my backpacking Nicaragua tips, which is going to be my next video. In this video though, I wanted to talk to you about something very significant that did happen in Nicaragua, and that is that I split from my friends Matilda and Grace. We were travelling together as a trio for over 2 weeks and were planning on spending the whole 9 weeks together. However, due to a variety of reasons revolving around the fact that our interests and reasons for travel were very different, I decided to do the final 7 weeks of travel solo. The split most definitely worked out for the best, and I think both myself and the girls as a duo enjoyed ourselves much more thereafter without the pressure of having to compromise our actions to stay together as a trio. So in this video I basically just wanted to talk about when, if you're travelling in a group, it doesn't go quite as smoothly as planned, and also the pros and cons of both group travel and solo travel. So first of all, no matter how best of friends you are at home, no matter how many years you've known each other, does not necessarily mean that you are going to make perfect travel companions. And the reality is that a lot of people make this mistake. It is a very intense environment to be travelling as a group, and if you find that you have more than one conflicting ideas, the enjoyment of your trip is going to be seriously affected. What's funny is that after I went solo, the amount of people who I met who said that they had met groups that had split up was just absolutely extraordinary, and obviously that made me feel better about my decision. But don't get me wrong here, group travel can be absolutely great, and here are some of the pros of group travel. You always have someone to share your memories with. This is especially great if you're travelling with friends from home. Things are often cheaper because you can share the costs of, for example, accommodation or taxis. There is always someone to take a photo of you. Meal times are easier and cheaper because you can buy your supplies in bulk and all share and enjoy the same meal. And finally, if you are having a bad day for whatever reason, there's always someone to talk to, and there's always someone there who's looking out for you. And the cons of group travel. Captain Obvious here, but the dynamic of your group does not always flow, and this can cause situations and emotions that you don't want to have to deal with on what's supposed to be your fun trip away. And also, unless you and your group all have the exact same ideas of what you want to do, there is a fair amount of patience and compromisation that is required to make the trip run smoothly. And now the pros of solo travel. You don't have to compromise for anybody. You can pretty much do whatever you want, whenever you want, and it is bloody liberating. I found it much easier to meet new people as a solo backpacker. Not that it's hard in a group, but as a solo you are far more approachable. It is easier to sneak into things. No, I'm not talking about doing something you're not supposed to be doing and getting away with it. I just mean, like, if a hotel, restaurant or tour is particularly busy, you are 10 times more likely able to brag yourself into doing exactly what you want to do because it is just you. And going back to planning your trip, you can go at a time that exactly suits you. When you've saved up enough money, it exactly fits into your schedule and no one else's. It's basically just unlimited freedom. But there is obviously the cons of solo travel too. First of all, it's not always the cheapest. If you're still at the point where you haven't met anyone that you're really wanting to stick with, you may find yourself getting taxis by yourself, getting food for only you, and also having accommodation to yourself that can possibly sometimes be shared. And this one depends on your personality as how you see it, but if you haven't found anyone who you particularly click with in a particular place, you may find yourself a bit lonely. Basically, there's not always someone that's guaranteed to be there. And in terms of safety, I actually didn't feel any less safe when I was travelling by myself as opposed to with a group. I think that is just down to being sensible though, you know, just never go wandering by yourself at night, and I always made sure that I locked up my valuables. And that's it, I think, for discussing the actual differences between group travel and solo travel. If you'd like, I could do a video on my tips for backpacking solo and just things to be aware of, so let me know if you'd want to see that. But yeah, as a word of reassurance, if you do find yourself travelling as a group and do end up splitting, just know that that is completely normal and it's okay. My advice would just be to do whatever you truly think is best for you. The thought that was in my head was just, we've all spent so much money on this flight to come over here. It would be such a shame and a bit of a waste if we all weren't doing exactly what we wanted to do. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's definitely been one of my most honest yet, because I know I always rave about how fun and perfect traveling is and probably give off the impression that nothing ever goes wrong when I do it. But now you know that my travels haven't been perfect, and not everyone's are, but it doesn't mean that it has to spoil your trip. I hope you've learned a little bit more about the differences between group and solo travel and could perhaps make a more informed decision about what you want to do now if you are unsure. I leave for Australia on the 18th of August. I actually think I'm already going to be there by the time I post this video, which is extremely exciting. I want to post all of my Central America content before my Australia content, so it's sort of all in order. But if you want to keep up to date with my travels at the time that it's happening, you can follow me on Instagram, which is just christianne.risman, or on Snapchat, which is christianne.ris, or you can scan my sexy ghost, which I'm going to pop right here, and it's also in my outro, but scan that on your Snapchat now. Pause the screen. The next video is supposed to be backpacking Nicaragua tips, but honestly, who even knows? Whatever it is, I will see you then. Bye! The worst thing you can do is under budget for your trip and end up in a sneaky broke situation, which is what would have happened to us because we were